Thank you so much. It's really an honor and a privilege to be with all of you in what is one of the subjects that I'm most passionate about. And I know that I'm excited to say and announce that CoMotion will be in Miami in April as part of our Miami Tech Month initiative right after Emerge Americas. And so I welcome you all to the city of Miami in April. We're going to have an incredible first quarter of the year. In February, we're going to have a Milken Institute convention. In March, we're having the Aspen Ideas Festival. Like I said, in April, we're going to have the Bitcoin conference, CoMotion, Emerge, and we're going to have Miami Tech Week, sponsored by the Founders Fund, which is one of the main funders of one of the companies that you're about to hear from in the transportation space. In terms of thinking about transportation, I broke down what I wanted to say into three phases: yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Yesterday, and the 11 and a half years that I've been involved in transportation have been about analyzing what were the best options to get the most amount of people from point A to point B. And I can tell you, and I'll be very candid with you, that those 11 and a half years in public service were extremely frustrating. And Cesar, who's here with me, worked at the city at one point, and sort of worked in a variety of different jurisdictions, and he has been there with me from the beginning almost. And it was, in my opinion, a lot about essentially putting lipstick on a pig, trying to dress up yesterday's ideas and try to make them a little bit better, a little bit more efficient. They're very, very expensive, and in many cases were not the ideal solutions. Today, we find that many of the solutions are coming not necessarily from the public sector, but they're coming from the private sector. And the private sector is realizing that there's a very monetizable opportunity in transportation, and you see it, through companies like Coco. You see it through companies like the scooter companies that have created micromobility and done it in a environmentally friendly way. And so I believe that we're at an inflection point, and I was sharing this with the Undersecretary of Transportation, and I've shared it with the Secretary of Transportation, who's a good friend, former Mayor Pete Buttigieg, who came up with me in the mayoral ranks, and we had a lot of fun and exciting moments together. And, for me, there's a generational inflection point now. And that inflection point is about really stopping the practice of trying to reconfigure yesterday's technology and make it work, but really focusing on tomorrow's technology and today's technology that can be implemented tomorrow. Some of the things that we're looking at, obviously, are micromobility options, expanding micromobility options, like whether it's delivery services or whether it's getting people in the last mile from one place to another. And we're a hot city, so we want to do things that allow you to get there without sweating and wearing a suit. We are obviously looking at autonomous vehicles. We're one of the first autonomous vehicle cities that Ford is operating in, and many others. Obviously, we want to continue along the path of the energy revolution and electric vehicles, and we've done a variety of things in our code to support development that will continue the growth of electric vehicles. And then we want to focus on technologies that are maybe not yet here, but I think are going to revolutionize the way that we behave and the transportation decisions that we make. For example, urban air mobility. And I've had almost every single urban air mobility company come and visit me, and I'm very excited about that, from Archer to Joby to Hyundai, and many, many others have come by City Hall, and we're working actively with them. We'd love to be the first American city to have an integrated urban air mobility network, and as soon as the Federal Aviation Administration allows for these crafts to be able to get around, we want to be the first city in America that adopts them. We've met with the Boring Company and visited their project in LA and motivated our sister city in Fort Lauderdale that has sort of jumped ahead with a project. And I understand that San Antonio is also working with them. And so, we think that, the Boring Company, which can move a tremendous amount of passengers per hour in a much, much less expensive way than most other similar transportation modalities, is something that every city in America should be exploring. I'm blessed that in January 3rd of this upcoming year, I'm been nominated or elected by my peer mayors to be the president of the U.S. Conference of Mayors. So I'll be the president of all the mayors in this amazing country that we call the United States. And part of the excitement in doing that is not just creating an agenda for America that deals with a variety of societal issues, but one that deals with one of the major costs in an urban family's budget, which is transportation. The three major costs are food, shelter, and transportation. And so oftentimes government has an enormous role over shelter through affordable housing projects and over transportation through its mobility projects. And that allows people to get to work and back efficiently, inexpensively, and be more productive and spend more time, hopefully, with their families, which is what we would want them to do. Spend more quality time with the people that they love and spend less of it in a state that maybe isn't as productive as they would like it to be. So my vision for the future is a dynamic one. It's about turning the page from one set of ideas to another. And it's frankly a beautiful vision of urban cities across America that contain 85% of the population of this country and 91% of its GDP that function in a way that allow people to get around efficiently, don't have to be mired and stuck in hours and hours of traffic. The amount of days lost in people's lives stuck in traffic is unconscionable. And as the advent of autonomous vehicles comes in, as the advent of urban air mobility comes in, and as the ability to get around in dedicated underground lanes becomes a reality, we're going to see a world that puts a bigger premium on the most valuable asset that each one of you have. And I'll give you a hint, it's not your money. It's your time. Because it's the only thing that's finite, the only thing you can't make more of, and the only thing that we all share in common. And that's what we're doing in Miami, and that's what I hope to do with this agenda for our amazing country, America. Thank you.